Good morning, my dear students. We're going to start the class now. So in the last class, we discussed the problems on tetrahedron. So only the two solids which we're supposed to complete it now. One is a hexahedron or a cube. Another one is a cone. Okay. So in today's class, we will try our level best to complete both the solids. Okay. So from next class onwards, I wanted to solve the isometric problems for you. Okay. So please have your sketch sheets or A4 sheets and drawing sheets with you, because hexahedron and cube definitely are one of the most important solids for your examination point of view. So please try to practice this at least one problem on hexahedron and one problem on cones also. Okay, so we're going to start with the problem now, one on the hexahedron or a cube. We're going to start it now. Okay, please type your ESN and name in the chat box. Yeah, so let us take this problem. Please note down this problem. A cube of 40 millimeter sides, rests on HP, on an edge which is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. Draw the projections when the lateral square face containing the edge on which it rests makes an angle of 50 degrees to HP. Yeah. So this is the problem on a cube. So I think in the first class on the solids, I just give an introduction to the solids with the cube or hexahedron. Hexahedron, basically it consists of 6 equal faces. Means a hexahedron or a cube is a solid which is bounded with 6 square faced faces, right? And their length, width, as well as the height, everything will remain same. So in this case, what it says is a cube of 40 millimeter sides rests on HP on an edge. Okay, so therefore, the initial position, you will going to start with the resting on the edge. So the top view of a cube will be a square of 40 millimeter side. So you rest it on the edge. So this is the initial position of a cube of 40 millimeter side resting on HB on one of its edges, right? So this is the initial position, the top view, what we are seeing here. So just give the annotations as A, B, B, C, and D as the top face, and the bottom base is A1, B1, C1, and D1. So this is the top view of a hexahedron or a cube, which is resting on HP on one of its base edges. Okay. So please draw this. So complete this 40 millimeter square, because you can see a square of 40 millimeter from the top. So that's why in the initial position, we're going to put it as a square, or we're going to draw it as a square of 40 millimeters. Okay. Next. So So the top view of this, once you get the top view, then you can go for the front view. So the front view also, the because a cube is having a side height is also equal to the side of a base. So the height is also 40 millimeter. Okay. So please remember the height, the width, and the length of a cube, because it is a square. It is made with a 6 square faces. Okay, so the 40 millimeter height, so you can project it all the points over here. So projecting, so each point, so you can see A1, B1, C1, and D1 as the base, and A, B, C, D as the top face. Okay, so this is the front view of a cube of 40 millimeter side. The height is also equal to the base side what we have written in the top. So this is the what we call it as the front view and the top view its edges of the base on HP. So once you get this, next thing is the second position. So in the second position, what you have to satisfy the condition is the lateral face containing the edge on which it rests makes an angle of 50 degrees with respect to HP. So the resting edge here is the A1 and D1. Okay, A1 and D1 is the resting edge, and the corresponding lateral face will be the bottom one. What we are seeing here is A1, B1, C1, and D1. A1, B1, C1, and D1. So that has to be inclined to HP at 50 degrees. So therefore, what we have to do is, so this in the second position, we have to show or we have to satisfy the condition that the lateral face containing that edge makes an angle of 50 degrees with respect to HP. So this face, this what we are getting, this is 50 degrees. This is a lateral face what we are getting. It is A, D, D1 and A1. A, D, D1 and sorry, A1, D1 and D. That has to make an angle of 50 degrees with respect to HP. So now what we will going to do? So we will going to draw in the second position, we will going to rest, we will going to select a point on the XY line, any point on the XY line. So that point we will going to mark it as A1 and D1, A1 and D1, and then we will going to draw an line for 50 degrees without taking it in the anti-clockwise direction. Draw a line from that point A1 and D1 at an angle of 50 degrees, measuring in the anti-clockwise direction. So then on that line, you have to mark the edge, the lateral face, that is A, D, D1, A1, this line. This line should be marked or should be drawn over that line. So in a sense, you measure the length of this, of course it will be 40 millimeters only. So from A1 and D1 dash, so mark 40 millimeters and name it as A dash and D dash. So that is inclined to 50 degrees. Then you can draw the face, complete the top view of the second position by just taking the corresponding distances using the compass and complete the second position front view. Okay, so only thing you have to make the line, that is the lateral face A, D, D1, A1. A, D, D1, A1 should be inclined to HP at 50 degrees. So in this case, they have shown it as an axis inclined to 50 degrees. Of course, it is similar to that of the, because these two lines, these two are parallel to each other, so that will be inclined to 50 degrees. Got it? Are you following, my dear students? Please, if you have any clarification, you can stop me. Okay. Because cube is very, very important from the examination point of view.
Can you explain it once again? Second position.
This position, na? Okay.
Yes.
See, oh, just see. Did you understand the initial position? How to draw the constructor cube?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the second position, what you will going to do? First, you mark a point A1 and B1 on the XY line. Okay. Now, the lateral face containing that edge, the lateral face containing that edge is the edge resting is A1 and D1. So, the lateral face means it is a square face again. So, that lateral face will be A, D, D1 and A1. You will have another one square face over here. A, D, D1 and A1. It's A dash, D dash, D1 dash. That has to be inclined to HP at 50 degrees. So for that, what you will go to do? So first mark a point on the XY line as an A1 dash and D1 dash. Draw a line for 50 degrees, which has to be measured from the XY line in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay, anti-clockwise direction. Now that line you have to mark that A dash, D dash, D1 dash and A1 dash, that length. That length will be equal to exactly 40 millimeters. You mark 40 millimeters over that 50-degree line, and one end will be A1 dash and D1 dash, and another one will be A dash and D dash. So just mark it. So that is, you are satisfying that lateral face containing that edge is inclined to HP at 50 degrees. Okay. Then you have to complete the front view by just taking the corresponding distances by using a compass. So you have to mark, you have to draw the line A1 dash and B1 dash, take the convenient distance. Of course, A dash and A1 dash you already done. And similarly, you have to get the other sides of the square or the what is supposed to be completed by using the compass, taking a convenient distances. So that represents the lateral face containing that edge is inclined to HP at 50 degrees. Clear now? Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So once you complete the front view, then it comes the top view. So for drawing a top view, you have to observe the object or a cube from the top. Okay. And you have to apply the rules of visibility in the top view. So observing the cube in this position with the lateral face inclined to HP at 50 degrees. So what you can see, so you can see the complete face, the top face, that is A, B, C, D. That face is completely visible for you in the top view. And also another one face, what we can say B, C, C1 and B1. That is also seen in the top view. Only the edge which is away from the observer is A1 dash and D1 dash. Okay, so that A1 dash and D1 dash is invisible in the top view, and also the edges or the corners which arises from that A1 dash and D1 dash are also invisible, and that has to be shown as an invisible line if they does not form an outline of a solid. Okay, so now just draw the projector lines from the front view and correspondingly the horizontal projector lines from the top views. So first you mark the points at the intersection points. So mark the points first, A, B, C, D, A1, B1, C1, D1, like that. First you mark where the vertical projectors will intersect the corresponding horizontal projectors. After marking the points, then you have to join those points with a line. So now you have to either draw a continuous thick line or a continuous dashed line. That is the one important thing what you're supposed to be careful. So as we already told, this the top face is completely visible in the top view. This A, B, C, D is completely visible. So you can join A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D is completely visible, and also B, C, C1 and D1, that is also visible in the top view. So of course, whether they are visible or not visible, they are, it is looking like an outline of a solid. So therefore, everything will be shown it as a continuous lines, continuous thick line. Now only the edge which is not visible in the top view is A1 dash and D1 dash. So therefore, you can see A1 dash and D1 dash has been shown as a continuous dashed line. And the remaining edges, just like a D1 dash and D dash, or A1 dash and sorry, D1 and D, or A1 and A, they are also not visible, but they are forming an outline here. So that's why they have shown it as a continuous thick line. But or they will going to be just overlapping with the edge CD and AB. So therefore, we cannot show with respect to the dashed line. So this is how we will going to apply the rules of visibility in the top line. So this is the completion of the second position of a cube. Okay. Is it clear, my dear students? Any clarification, you can stop me and you can ask for any clarification or any doubts. Then, once you complete the second position, now we have to move to the third position. So in third position, what is the condition that needs to be satisfied? So what is the condition they have given? See, a cube resting on one of its edge, which is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. The resting edge in this case is A1 and D1. So now that edge has to be inclined to VP at 30 degrees. So this condition can be satisfied in the third position. So in the third position, what we do here is already the cube is inclined to HP at 50 degrees for their corresponding lateral face, right? Now that edge, the resting edge A1 and D1 has to be inclined to VP at 30 degrees. So for that, what we do is, so we'll move to the third position here. So that inclination with respect to VP can be shown in the top view only. So therefore, we're going to start the third position with the top view. So take a convenient distance below the XY line, draw the parallel line. I was will keep on telling you always, because the top view should not cross the XY line for any reasons. So therefore, take a convenient distance from the XY line, below the XY line, draw a parallel line. From that line, you measure the required angle of inclination. So in this case, what we want is the side is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. So from that parallel line, draw a line for 30 degrees. Draw a line for 30 degrees. On that 30-degree line, so you have to mark the resting edge A1 and D1. So of course, A1 and D1 is 40 millimeters. So therefore, so mark A1 and D1 over that 30-degree line. So A1, D1 over here is A1 and D1. So that we can take it from the second position top view only. Second position top view. So A1, D1. So you mark A1, D1, and which is not visible in the top view. So therefore, it should be a dashed line, a thick dashed line. So this is the second position. I want to make the resting edge A1 and D1 is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. Okay. So now we are just making the A1 and D1 on the 30-degree line, which is an invisible edge in the second position top view. So draw that line on the 30-degree line. Now with respect to that A1 and D1, you have to transfer all the second position top view to the third position in this respective position, that is A1 and D1 is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. Okay, so now take a compass, take the corresponding distances from D1 and A1. So just like a D1 and D and A1 and A, however, whichever with convenient method you will find it. You just, I want the second position top view. Second position top view should be transferred to the third position. Third position with A1 is D1 inclined to VP at 30 degrees. This is how we will going to transfer the second position top view to the third position. So now once you transfer, or once you complete this transferring of second position top view to the third position, now we have to get the final position of the cube, that is the front view. So for that, what we do, So you will going to draw the projectors. Okay, draw vertical projectors from the each point. So just like A, B, C, D, A1, B1, C1, D1, and of course O1. Axis also. Don't forget to represent the axis in solids. Axis also very important over here. So get the axis points also. Right? So now correspondingly, you draw the horizontal projectors from the second position front view, right? So join all those points over there, right? So now we will going to get the points. First you mark the points, just like A1, B1, C1, D1, A, B, C, D. Just mark the points first. Then what we supposed to do is we have to apply the rules of visibility. So which lines are visible and which edges are visible and which edges are not visible. This is one of the most important thing in the solids. So now we are observing the object or the solid from the front, right? So we have to observe from the front. So when you just observe in this direction, okay, so you can see the complete the base, that is A1, B1, C1 and D1, because that base is nearer to the observer. So therefore A1, B1, C1 and D1 is completely visible in the front view. Okay, so the points or the corners or the edges which are away from the observer is the point D. So very simple way to identify or to just guess which is the invisible edge or invisible corner. The just locate which is the point which is away from the observer. So that is point D. So now the edges which arises out of this corner D will be an invisible edge if it does not form an outline of a solid. Got it? This is how you can show the invisibility in the solids. So what we do here is, see, once you just mark the points over here, so now you have seen A1, B1, C1, D1 is completely visible in the front view. So just join the A1, B1, C1, D1 with a complete continuous thick line. Okay, now let us take A1 and A1 dash, A dash and A1 dash. It is an outline, so it has to be shown as a continuous line. A dash and B dash is an outline. B dash, C dash is an outline. C dash and C1 dash is also an outline. Okay, and coming to this B and B1, see B and B1 is also visible in the front view. So because this edge is nearer to the observer when you are observing in the front direction, so therefore B dash and B1 dash is also an visible edge. Only the edges which are not visible in the front view are the edges which comes out of the point which is away from the observer is D. So the edges are D dash and C dash, D dash and A dash, and D dash and D1 dash. Okay, so these are the three edges. See here. So D dash and A dash, okay, which is away from the observer, D dash and C dash, and D dash and D1 dash. These three edges are not visible in the front view. So therefore, that should be represented in the form of a continuous dashed lines. Okay, and also complete the representation of the axis as O dash and O1 dash. Okay, so this is the completion of final position front view. Okay, so any clarification? So this is, you can ask me, this is the completion of the projection of a cube. The one problem, there are two problems on cube. One problem I just completed on cube, other problem I'm going to take it now. So if you have any clarification, you can just ask me before I proceed for the next problem. Any doubts, my dear students? Shall I proceed for the next problem? This combination is shown in the operator machine interface. Hello, my dear students, are you there? Avantika, Divyashri.
Yes.
Shall I proceed for the next problem? Any doubts in that problem? What I suggest discuss now?
Yes, I'm drawing right now.
Okay, right. We are going to start with the next problem. So how the computer operates programs are written, code is written in the computer, and the computer is made to work connected. Then automatically the computer will take care of producing the component of all the machine tools operations such as doubling operation, thread cooking operation. This is one of the most important problems from the Please make a note of this problem. A hexahedron of 30 millimeter sides is resting on one of its corners on HP. A hexahedron of 30 millimeter sides resting on one of its corners on HP such that one of its solid diagonals is perpendicular to VP. One of its solid diagonals is perpendicular to VP. Draw the projections of the solid. Draw the projections of the solid. Yeah, this is one of the most important problem from the examination point of view. So what is a hexahedron? Hexa means 6, hedron means faces. So hexahedron is nothing but a cube. Don't get confused in the exam whether hexahedron means what. Hexahedron corresponds to, or hexahedron is nothing but cube, right? A hexahedron of 30 millimeter sides is resting on one of its corners on HP such that one of its solid diagonals is perpendicular to VP. Draw the projections of the solid. So the two important terms, one is a hexahedron, another one is a solid diagonals. So I told you what is hexahedron is nothing but a cube. So now comes the solid diagonal. So what do you mean by solid diagonal? See, solid diagonal in a cube is from the topmost corner, the line which joins the topmost corner to the bottommost, the opposite corner in a cube. So that corresponds to the solid diagonal. Okay, so you will have 4 solid diagonals in a cube, right? So he says one of its solid diagonals is perpendicular to VP. So from each corner to the opposite bottom. So top one corner, the line joins from the top of the one of the corner to the opposite corners on the base. So that is said to be the solid diagonal. So now what it says is one of its solid diagonal is perpendicular to VP. So this is a very important problem. Please try to understand how to solve this problem clearly. Okay. So now what we have to do, so initially the initial position is the hexahedron is resting on one of its corners on HP. So therefore the hexahedron means it is a cube. So cube is a solid which is bounded with a 6 square faces. So now in the initial position what you have to construct is you have to construct a square resting on the corner. Okay, so resting on the corner, it is 30 millimeter side cube. So rest the cube on the corner. So therefore the top view it is looking like this. So in the top view it is looking like a square resting on the corner. Their edges we have given it as A1, B, B1, C, C1, D, D1. So they are given different namings over here. Don't get confused. So you can give it as A1, B, B1, C, C1, D, D1. Correspondingly, the axis will be O1. So now in this position, the top position, so next you have to get the front view of the corresponding cube. So now draw the projectors and get the things done. See, when you observe from the front, the cube which has been kept in this position and observing from the front, so you can see the two cubes are joined at a common line or at a common fixed point. So we can say A1, B1, B. So there is a one which we can see over here. Another one is, of course, they put it as A, B, C, D in this case, and 1, 2, 3, 4 at the bottom. Don't get confused. A, B, C, D at the top, 1, 2, 3, 4 at the bottom. You can do either way. So this is the one way they have given. You can otherwise, if you want to put A1, B1, C1, D1, that can also be done. Nothing wrong in that. Okay. So in this question, they have given in this way. So now the two faces, what you can see, I will just explain with respect to the annotations what they have given in this problem or in the book. Okay. So the faces, two faces which are visible in the front view is A1, 2, D. A1 is at the bottom, 2 again is at the bottom, and B is at the top. So A1, 2, B is a one square face. Another one is B, C, 3, 2. B, C, 3, 2. Or B2, 3C. I think you can take it as. There is another one square which is seen in the front view. So you can see in the front view, there are two faces. Okay, these are two square faces which are visible in the front view, but they looks like a rectangle because the two edges or two faces are inclined to the direction of in which the observer is seeing the object. Okay, so therefore you can see the two rectangular faces. Okay, so that is A dash, B dash, 2 dash, and 1 dash. This is the one rectangular face or one of the square face which looks like a rectangle. This is the one face which is visible in the front view. Another one is B dash, C dash, 3 dash, and 2 dash. That is another one face which is visible in the front. So of course, which are put it in the bracket, they are not visible in the front. That is D and 4, D dash and 4 dash. So this is the front view of a cube or a hexahedron resting on HP with one of its corners. So this is the initial position. So once you draw the initial position, the next important thing is you have to represent the one of the solid diagonals. One of the solid diagonals. So we will going to take the solid diagonal starting from A dash to 3 dash. A dash to 3 dash. So this is the one solid diagonal I am just showing over here. So of course you can draw C dash and 1 is also can be possible. That is also possible here. Okay, so but we are taking it as a dash and 3 dash is one of the solid diagonal which is made perpendicular to VP. That is what the question, right? Diagonals is perpendicular to VP. So first you draw this join A dash and 3 dash with a thin line. It should be a thin line. So that is representing the solid diagonal. Now we have to make this solid diagonal perpendicular to VP. So to satisfy that condition, to make that one of the solid diagonal perpendicular to VP, first you have to make that solid diagonal parallel to both VP and HP, and later onwards we will go into tilt the solid such that that solid diagonal can be shown or can be inclined which it is made perpendicular to VP. So for that what we do is in the second position we are making this A1 dash and 3 dash, A1 dash and 3 dash, this is A dash and 3. See, this is a solid diagonal, right? So A dash and 3 dash, that first you have to draw parallel. You have to tilt the solid in such a way that you are tilting in such a way that A dash and 3 dash will become parallel to the XY line. It will become parallel to the XY line. So you can look at here in the second position, you are making this solid diagonal A dash and 3 dash parallel to the XY line. Okay, so now with first you have to draw this A dash, A1 dash, and 3 1 dash, A dash and 3 dash parallel to the XY line. So for that you had to do some little bit of work here, construction wise you had to do, and you had to make that you are tilting in such a way that 1 dash should be on the XY line only. So 1 dash is there, no? This corner. So you are tilting. So what happens? You are tilting on the corner. This corner will be center will be 1 dash, and you are lifting 3 dash. So that A dash and 3 dash will become parallel to the XY line. Okay. So therefore, so the two important conditions that needs to be satisfied here is, one is the point 1 should be on the XY line. 1 should be on the XY line, and simultaneously A1 dash and A dash and 3 dash should be parallel to the XY line. These two has to be satisfied. Okay. So now with respect to A dash and 3 dash, so you have to construct the second position front view. Second position front view has to be constructed with respect to the reference line A1 dash, A dash and 3 dash, which are you have made it make it parallel to the X value. Means first you have to take the distance, because this line first you have to locate this height should be located. So this height is very important for us. So how to get that height? So from 1.1, draw a perpendicular to the solid diagonal. It should be a perpendicular line. Draw a perpendicular to a solid diagonal from A dash from 1 dash. Sorry, from 1 dash, draw a perpendicular to A dash and 3 dash. And now measure what is the distance. Okay. So first you mark the point 1 dash on the XY line and draw that vertical line. Draw that vertical line over here for that distance what you have measured. So that line has to be drawn, and then you have to draw this A dash and 3 dash exactly parallel to the XY line, which passes through that point. I will repeat once again, this construction is a little bit tricky. Be careful. From the 1 dash, from first position front view, from 1 dash, draw a perpendicular to the solid diagonal A dash and 3 dash. Okay. Now you have to tilt the cube such that the corner 1 dash should be on the XY line, and A dash and 3 dash should become parallel to the XY line. These two conditions needs to be satisfied. So for that, what we have to do is take a convenient distance from the initial position front view, mark the point 1 dash on the XY line. Okay. Now you have draw a perpendicular from 1 dash to the solid diagonal. No? So you have to draw that line now for that particular length, which should be 90 degrees. For 90 degree, you draw a line which is we are drawn perpendicular here, and draw here it should be a vertical line. It should be vertical line. Now mark that point. Okay. From that point, you have to draw a horizontal line which is parallel to the XY line. On that horizontal line, you have to mark the length of A dash and 3 1 dash. Okay, so correspondingly, you have to measure these distances and you have to mark those points. So if you take this point as M, so M and M dash and A dash and M dash and 3 1 dash, that you can mark and you can get the corresponding length of A dash and 3 dash. Okay, once you get these 2 points, then rest of things are very simple. This point is now, so join these two, 1 dash and A1 dash and 1 dash and 3 1 dash, and correspondingly another one triangle with the compass. We can construct this. This is how we are going to construct or making this condition satisfied. The resting on the corner, 1 dash should be on the XY line, and one of the solid diagonal, that is A dash and 3 dash, should be parallel to the XY line. Okay. So now once you complete this second position front view, now draw the vertical projectors to get the second position top view. Okay, so now correspondingly draw the horizontal projectors from the initial position top view, and now mark the points where these two projectors will intersect. Okay, so before joining those points, so you look at the rules of visibility and then join those lines with a continuous thick line if they are visible, and continuous dashed line if they are not visible, and all the outlines should be shown as a continuous thick line only. Okay, so now for this position, so observing from the top, so you can see the top face completely. A1, B1, C1, D1 is completely visible for you. Okay, then C1 dash and 3-1 dash is also visible for you, and also B1 dash and 2-1 dash, that is also visible for you. Okay, so now the top face, which is A1, B1, C1, D1, join with a continuous thick line. A1, B1, C1, D1 with a continuous thick line. Okay, now only the corner which is away from the observer is 1 dash. So therefore, the edges which comes out of 1 dash should be shown as a dashed line or an invisible edge. So therefore, so once you see 1 dash and 4 dash, 1 dash and 2 dash, and 1 dash and a dash, these are the edges which are not visible in the top view. So the rest of the edges are forming an outline. So therefore, just join with those things with a continuous thick line. So this is the completion of the second position, where we have made one of the solid diagonal of this hexahedron parallel to this VP. Now in the last position, what we do is that solid diagonal has to be shown or has to be positioned such that it will be perpendicular to VP. Very simple. So in the second position top view, the corresponding solid diagonal is A1 and 3. See, from here to here, A1 to 3. Now what you have to do, you have to tilt the entire second position top view such that A1 and 3-1 will become exactly perpendicular to the XY line or perpendicular to VP. See, look at here. See, A1, 3-1 is horizontal now. Now in the third position, we have made that as completely perpendicular to the XY line or a VP. So that represents the solid diagonal is perpendicular to VP. Okay. So only thing you have to do, you have to measure these distances A1 and 3-1. So draw a vertical line from the XY line. So mark 3-1 and A1 and 3-1. And then correspondingly, you have to complete the second position top view over there. Okay, so ultimately what we are obtaining here is the solid diagonal has been made perpendicular to the VP. So solid diagonal here is A1 and 3-1, and now it has been tilted that A1, 3-1 will become perpendicular, means you are tilted with respect to an angle of 90 degrees. Such that solid diagonal will become perpendicular to the XY line or VP. Now taking those 2 points as a reference, you have to construct the remaining edges of the top view of the second position. So this is how they have completed over here. Okay, so once you complete the top position or top view, then the last thing is we have to get the final position. So final position, front view. So see, just to draw the vertical projectors and as well as the horizontal projectors from the corresponding front view. Now mark the points over here. Okay, so then apply the rules of visibility. So observing from the front, which are the edges and corners are visible. So that should be shown as a continuous thick line, and they are not visible, they should be shown as a continuous dashed line. And all the outlines should be represented as a continuous thick lines only. Okay, so now in the second position, in the final position front view. So if you look at here, the entire A1, B1, C1, D1 is visible for us. A1, A2, B2, C2, they are given. A1, B1, C1, ABC is visible. So this you can see ABC is visible in the front view. Only the point which is away from the corner which is away from the observer is the point 3 or the corner 3. So therefore, the edges which arises out of that corner that should be shown or be considered as an invisible edge. Okay, so you can see here. So the edges which are not visible in the front has been shown in this direction, which are dashed line, continuous dashed line, and the remaining edges which are visible, and if they are forming an outline, they have been shown as an continuous thick lines. So this is the completion of the projection of a hexahedron with one of its solid diagonals perpendicular to VP. This is very, very, very important from the examination point of view, because this is the problem which stands a basis for our next module, which is nothing but the isometric drawing. Okay, so please understand. So everything, whatever you are seeing, the final front view over here. So final front view, that is an isometric projection. Okay, so therefore, so this problem is very, very, very important from the examination point of view as well as for your isometric drawings. Okay, so please, if you have any clarification, if you have any doubts, you can ask me, because this completes the hexahedron or a cube. So in the next hour, I will going to be discussing with the cones. Yeah, any doubts, my dear students? If you have any clarification, you can talk to me. Any doubts, any clarification regarding this hexahedron problem? Yeah. Take 5 minutes break and I will come back to you. Okay.